That's right. That's right.
Someone in the chat says Twitch has begun, but YouTube isn't streaming yet, and I can verify that because it just says waiting for inappropriate characters. So on YouTube it hasn't started.
We'll take a look at that.
My apologies to the pundit and Big Chungus.
Okay, I got it now. All right, and it looks like we're on, and I'm in front of my computer now, and things are starting to look up. Actually, they'll really be looking up once I've actually had some fucking coffee. This is too early for me. It's only 10:30 p.m. here. Hello, this is the RPG Pundit. All right, well, I'm now. All right. Hello, this is the RPG Pundit, the final boss at Internet Shitlords, and I'm here with Benjamin Stanis and Job, and we are doing a great Inappropriate Characters show for you. You might have heard that if you were on Twitch, we had already started the show. I told a very funny story, a true story, about how my cat Big Chungus came charging through just before we were gonna start to film, and destroyed my coffee, and that's why I haven't actually had any coffee or been able to even start lighting a pipe yet. You can imagine my mood. If you want the full version of that story, I guess you'll have to check out the Twitch thing later, because I think we should get back into the topics of the evening. There is a comment on the chat. I will mention that they say they can't hear Hentai Dad. That is to say, Job. Are you
prefer it that way?
You better check to make sure they can hear. Do a test, Job.
Can you guys hear?
Okay.
Can you hear Job, guys?
So we've got a number of things to talk about, and one of them, well, okay, here we go. We've already got people in the chat talking about Ravenloft, and I guess that's going to be our first topic of the evening. You might have heard that they have come out, or they're announcing rather, they're coming out with a new 5e Ravenloft book. That is to say, a 5th edition book that is going to, it looks like it, from some of what they've said at first, it looks like it's going to be a setting book, because they're going to present like 30 different domains of dread. They haven't talked an awful lot about it yet. So there isn't a lot of information about what exactly are the details of the content. They've said a few things. Apparently one of the things is they've gotten rid of like the main, Ravenloft as a central continent type setting with countries that have borders and whatnot. Right. So instead, everything is now like a separate little island. But I mean, that's okay. That means the DM gets to pick, I guess, if you go out into the borders of into the mists where you come out, right? Doesn't matter. So the thing is, they've done this this product, and it led me to an important question. So you might ask, well, who cares about Ravenloft anyways? I mean, maybe you like Ravenloft. I was always kind of very blasé about Ravenloft, the setting, right? I think that the original module was very creative in many important ways, but even if you like the setting, you've already got 2e Ravenloft and 3e Ravenloft. Do you really need 5e Ravenloft? Well, the other thing that is significant about it is actually that it leads to the question of, can SJWs actually do horror as a genre? Because I mean, we know for a fact.
Oh wait, Pundit, hold on a second.
There's what?
We're on topic one.
Yes. Yeah. By the way, tell us out there if you can hear me and if you can hear Job. Hello.
I think someone said that they could hear Job earlier. Anyway, some people are asking who Jessica Price is. I don't know if you want to touch on that.
I'm going to tell people about that in a second here.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyways,
Yeah, they can hear you,
before I
Joe.
get into
We're
the
good.
specifics of Ravenloft, you know, sorry, Joe, am I allowed to keep going? He's told me to stop. Maybe I should stop. And can I actually continue with the topic, or?
Yeah.
Oh,
Continue,
okay. He says
continue,
yes.
sorry.
Very good. All right. All right, here we go. Sorry for those technical issues, folks. So the thing is, we already know that SJWs are generally bad at everything, but I think there's some things that they're especially bad at, right? One of them is comedy, right? SJWs are terrible at comedy. We've seen this with like all of these former liberal shows that were kind of funny once upon a time that now are just blatantly not funny and are just pure propaganda. So you know, like Saturday Night Live used to be funny. You watch Saturday Night Live now and it's constant left-wing propaganda. The humor is practically non-existent. It's just an attack on everything conservative, and it's not even a funny attack, right? It's because it used to be like, you know, Jon Stewart, say what you will about him, used to be really good at attacking conservatives, right? In the old Daily Show. You watch the Daily Show or Samantha Bee or any of these now, and they're all just trash, right? But I think another thing that they're really, really bad at is horror. There's been some evidence of this. You know, you watch, you know, in particular, I think about, you know, what they did with like Lovecraft County, that series, where it was, you know, the message had to be that white people are the real monsters, right? And none of the, you know, they used cosmic horror as an excuse to say, well, you know, white people are actually worse than Cthulhu. and it wasn't, because as a result of how they did it, it wasn't good horror. It was just so constant, over the top preaching. It was basically, you know, African-American victimhood porn, you know?
Is that show still on? Like, did it get canceled? Because I haven't heard anything.
I don't know.
In like a couple months about it.
It did a season, but you know,
Okay.
and I think it's pretty likely that a couple of things, the necessity to push in leftist ideological points in as propaganda in any of their work, combined with the fact that fundamentally SJWs just aren't on the side of the humans. You know, it's going to be very hard to make them do good horror. And Ravenloft, worse still, is gothic horror. Gothic horror is all about the sins of individuals causing great evil to arise, right? So, you know, the vampire is the product of the sin of lust. You know, the Frankenstein monster, a product of the sin of pride. There is a very strong moralistic element to Victorian Gothic horror. There always has been, right? It's something that is an inherent part of the genre. And I really think they're going to have a really hard time being able to do that. So instead, what you're going to end up having is settings where basically the humans are bad, the monsters are good. There's a bunch of propaganda about why, you know, most humans, especially humans of a certain particular skin color and with a certain set of genitalia, are really the real monsters. You know, it's going to be, I think, pretty horrible. It's going to be pretty horrific in terms of how it's not going to be good horror, but it is going to be horrific, you know. Before I continue, because I'm going to talk about, I've got the list of the people who are contributing to it in a sec here. But first, I wanted to see if Job or Venger had something to add to what I've talked about so far. Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think Ravenloft is going to be good? Either one.
Job, you want to jump in? Or I'll take the stage.
Guys, I'm like on an audio delay that makes it really hard, but I'll just.
Okay, I see.
Okay.
All right. The only thing I was going to say is
Yeah.
I couldn't hear anything you were saying, Pundit. And the other thing is, you know, horror. I think the horror genre is about robbing the characters of their agency very slowly and tortuously. That's completely incompatible with you know, WotC's version of D&D, the 5th edition now. I just don't see how it's going to be compatible at all, no matter what they do. So.
Good point.
Well, that's a topic for. I mean, we could discuss that for a while, probably. I mean, I don't know if I would agree with that. I think there's a way to make because even in old school games that I'm sure we all participate in, run, play, there are dangers that make the players and their characters feel at times helpless or doomed or up shit creek without a paddle. So I think with horror, you just add, that's not too far off. So you just add some trappings and some skeletons and some bats and witches and whatever. And I think you could do it without completely taking player agency away. But I was going to say, until they bring gypsies back, why bother? Without gypsies, Ravenloft, or any kind of Eastern European, Gothic, medieval fantasy is just not going to be the same. And the whole woke thing, of course, is going to suck too. So why bother buying that when you can either make your own or you can buy like the second edition source material and use that instead of the 5th edition one, because who knows what changes they're going to make above and beyond that they've already stated. That's just going to make it
all right.
lame.
That segs really well into what I was going to comment about, which is the things that we do know so far specifically about Ravenloft. One of the things we know is they said that there are going to be Vistani, that is the stand-in for the gypsies in the original Ravenloft module, but that they're going to be completely different. They're going to be based on, correct, I guess, cultural stuff. They've obviously had diversity overlords or whatever they call them. That's not what they call them, but they've hired gypsies to stand there and say, we're gypsies and we approve of this product. They've done all that sort of thing to try to reform the Vistani. They've also commented on that they're going to gender swap a couple of the Dark Lords, because apparently, if Dr. Frankenstein is a woman instead of a man, that somehow makes it, better for women. I'm not sure how that works, but okay. And besides that, they've talked a lot about how there's going to be an important amounts of material in the book. I don't know how many. I don't know if important amounts means like a paragraph or if it means like 20 pages of information and rules about consent, because it's going to be super important, obviously, for the special snowflakes, that you can't do anything scary to the little millennials without their consent, So those are the things that are new in there, right? The big changes that they've talked about so far.
Yeah, I agree with that. I fixed my audio problems. I'm not delayed anymore. So.
Oh, good. So I will comment on the fact, though, that they've hired something like, I don't know, a few dozen super high quality designers to jump in and produce parts. Like, I think each of them are doing a different domain or something like that. And my God, the list of luminaries, the stars that you see here, you're going to be just absolutely shocked by the high level of fame and capability that these people have. I'm going to read you the list, if that's okay. I'm going to read you the entire list, but a good part of it. All right. So we have, working on the new Ravenloft book, we have she, her, they, them, she, her. We have, she, her, by Black Lives Matter. My God, that one, like what they must have paid her. Then we have no pronoun, non-binary vegan. Vegan. I didn't know that being a vegan meant you don't get to have pronouns, but there we go. We also have...
Pronouns are people.
Yeah, apparently we have she, her. Okay, yes. She, they. Ooh, exotic. She, her.
Is that like being a half elf?
Vegan with no pronouns again, so that seems to confirm it. And we have she, her, I block often. That's a certain famous person we're going to talk about in a moment. And wait a minute. What the hell is this? He, him. There's a he, him in there.
Oh, my
wait,
God.
no, that's okay. It's okay. It's an Indian guy that they hired to do the Indian part of the Domains of Dread, right? So it's not a white man. You don't have to worry.
Whew,
and
that was close.
apparently, it is a male. It is a he, him, but it's a male of color, specifically and only hired to do the only thing that they should be allowed to do, which is to write about their particular color, because they in olden days, people were crazy and thought that your skin color shouldn't affect what you're allowed or not allowed to write about. Only expertise would matter. But now
we know differently.
If you're black, you can only draw Black Panther. You can't draw Superman, right? Unless you make him Black Superman.
Yeah, and I'm sure that the wokesters are still going to come and attack him in 2 years when the values change. But now watch they pay for their woke meat shields to stand there in front of it, and then Jeremy Crawford and fucking bald guy can just keep writing it from behind the scenes.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, those are all the stars. And by the way, if I told you their names, it wouldn't really matter because you wouldn't recognize any of them. Half of them have no RPG credits at all. The other half have very, very minor types of RPG credits with stuff like, games on itch.io and, occasional, very not famous Forge storytelling type of games. And then you have Jessica Price, the only name I recognize. And I mean, I'm pretty well read in the whole field, right?
Oh my gosh, she wormed her way in there.
This is Jessica Price. Now, if that name sounds familiar to you, Jessica Price is, she used to be one of the people that ran Pathfinder, where she spent her time turning Pathfinder into an SJW hellhole until she got it, she did it so egregiously that she got herself fired, right? While she went on Twitter calling anyone who actually liked Pathfinder pathetic man babies who shouldn't be allowed to role play, right? Like somehow this is her formula for success. And now apparently
I agree with
Wizards
her.
of the Coast have decided they want some of that, right? Sorry, go ahead.
I just said I agree with Jessica Price. Pathfinder
That's no
players.
excuse.
Pathfinder gamers.
Pathfinder sucks, but Jessica Price sucks harder. So
yeah.
Hey, I noticed that Wizards of the Coast never called me, and I assume never called Pundit or Joe. So Wizards of the Coast, what the fuck? Can't cut me a check?
They already cut me a check, Benjer. I'm happy. I'm done.
They could come back for more. I mean, you gave them.
Check.
You told them that advantage and disadvantage was a good idea. Like
Benjer, you have to understand. This is the other thing. Freelance writers. I mean, I was hired as a consultant by Wizards, and I was paid quite well for the amount of work I did. Very well. But if you're a freelance writer for D&D, you're getting paid like a half a cent a word, right? It's like pathetic what you're being paid there, right? Yeah. This is part of why they don't get anybody notable. Like why would anyone do this, right? I
can understand that because Wizards of the Coast probably makes like $10, $15 a month off of D&D. So I get that. I mean, they're a struggling small press. Wait a minute.
Yeah, they're not making more money than Hasbro toys, right?
Well, I can tell you because I did some stuff for them. Like in the 4E days, that people that had no name or whatever, they paid them like 6 cents a word. And then,
well, there you go.
I think in the 5E realm, I think the last contract I did with them, it went down. It was like 5 cents a word. So, but I mean, that was 4 years ago. So
yeah. More. So anyone with talent, they would never. The only reason anyone would work for Wizards today. I'm not saying in the past. I'm saying today, right? Is to get to claim I work for Wizards, right? So I'm a real member of the industry, not like these OSR people who are making 20 times more money than me. Like I have literally had the most profitable month of my my life, I think, this past month. You know, so it's
Hey, there you go. Nice.
so you know it's Wizards of the Coast is only going to get people who are completely marginal. And the problem is these marginal people with no talent tend to be left wingers, because if they had talent, they wouldn't want to impose, you know, full communism.
I can understand that, because why would you want your role-playing game material to be any good?
Yeah. Anyways, we were talking before about Jessica Price. As we mentioned, she was somebody who got herself fired from every job she's been in. So of course it's natural that because she has a vagina, not a penis, you know, if you were a guy with a penis and you know, well, I'm sorry, no, let's put that right, because you could be a woman with a penis and then you'd be fine. You'd do better maybe than Jessica Price. But if you're a man with a penis, then you screw up twice in 2 major jobs. You're never going to get hired again, right? But if you're a woman, a feminist woman like Jessica Price, you can destroy every company you work for, and you're always going to get hired to a bigger and better position eventually, because you know, woman, vagina, and feminist, right? That's all that matters these days.
Is there a name for that yet? Is that the Anita Sarkeesian effect, or should we just call it the Jessica Price
I don't know.
way of falling into jobs? I don't know.
Yeah, failing upwards, you know.
Yeah. How to succeed in business while having a vagina?
Yeah.
I just call them
So
grifters. I don't know.
You know, she's already commented extensively on Ravenloft in her channel, and it's very funny because she's the very first thing she comments is that, you know, Mike Merles is not in any way involved in this book as far as I know. That's what she says, right? So, you know, essentially her first post about the subject, without except for the introductory post where she says, I'm doing Ravenloft, you know, I'm going to say stuff about it. But the first one where she actually does say something, what she's basically doing is shitting all over Wizards and one of its employees.
Yep. Yeah.
This is the person you've hired, Wizards. This is who Hasbro are. If you're listening, pay attention. This is the people that Wizards is hiring.
Sex that listen to our show.
Anyways, I've spoken enough. Do you have anything you guys want to add? Anything more about either Ravenloft or the people that they've hired to work on it, or what, you know, your predictions are for it?
I don't think so. I think we've said enough about those losers.
I never liked Ravenloft. I don't know why people go on and on about it. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous setting.
All right, so let's take a look at what the
That's
chat's
a Minority
saying.
Report, if I've ever heard one.
One of the chat.
Let me see here. A lot of can't hear you, Job. That's way back though. Don't worry. That's not now.
Now they wish they didn't hear me.
Brad Miltonic is saying, I'm not hearing a pitch for Chalk, so I'm very concerned that Benjer's stream is lagged and he's passed away.
Yes, but yeah, my Kickstarter did very well. It ended today.
Yep. Did you win, son?
I won, Haas. I won big, man! Holla! As
well, congratulations
from that show. Yeah, it went over 7,000, and so I don't know how Luke Crane was able to not like block all the backers from seeing my my Kickstarter campampagn.
Maybe because he was having some problems of his own at the time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think he was like,
Which we're gonna talk about later.
I gotta stop like shadow banning everybody associated with Venture, so I can deal with the fallout from Adam Kobol's, you know, non-consensual robot orgasms. Shit.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that in a second, but
that was your segue.
Well,
no, slow down, man. You guys we didn't even do the shill part of the show.
Well, hang on. I'm still want to see if there's anything else people want to say here in the chat about
Okay.
Ravenloft. Unscripted Unchained says Jessica Price was fired from Paizo and ArenaNet because she takes credit for work she does not do and does not play well with others. Martin Tepley makes a very insightful comment here. He says, you need a sense of humor for horror. And he's right. And that's part of the reason why I think SJWs, we know they can't do humor, I suspect they can't do horror. It seems to be very likely because both of those require a type. I think it requires a type of understanding of the human condition that SJWs aren't capable of having, you know?
I want to throw in one more thing about Jessica Price before I forget. I got a memory of a squirrel, but don't forget Jessica Price is the one who basically like pushed Frank Menser off the RPG map. You know, and people took her claims about him seriously at the time. I think now everybody realizes that she's a big scumbag, but the damage is still done. You know, Frank Menser, I don't think can even go to
everybody but
anymore.
Wizards realizes that. You know? Wizards apparently doesn't.
Just a public service announcement for everybody listening. Okay, if you do something a little bit stupid out there, especially if you're a white male and heterosexual, don't like threaten to ruin anybody or fire them or what else? You know, harm them in any way because that, like, the cover up is worse than the crime. And I think, you know, I don't know if it was real or not, but when Menser was claimed to allegedly have threatened Jessica Price, that kind of blew up in his face. And I think that's more than the slightly creepy old man, like passive flirting that he did. I think that's what really hurt him. And I don't know if any of that's true, but just like with Cuomo, Governor Cuomo, you know, sure, you like killed thousands of old people, sort of kind of on purpose with the China virus, but he really stepped in it when he threatened that journalist. That's probably going to get him thrown out of office, or maybe put in jail. So just be careful, guys. If you do something stupid, just say my bad and just move on. Don't threaten the person, you know.
Okay, fair enough. Solomon Kane says sensitivity readers are just censors. I think you're a little wrong there, Solomon. I'm going to explain why. Sensitivity readers are not themselves the censors. Sensitivity readers, you know what they're like? They're like the little old Italian grandma that goes all down Little Italy to each of the shops, says hello. She's a nice little nonna. She comes over and all of the shopkeepers have to give her the envelope with the money that she sends. She picks all of it up and gives it, keeps a little bit for herself, gives it to the Dawn so that the Dawn won't burn down your store. That's what the sensitivity readers are. They're specially selected people who represent certain demographics that are there for you to pay so that the monsters don't come and destroy your business, right? It's a
protection racket.
It's what do you call it? Oh, geez. Like where basically you're extorting someone for protection money. That's it. It's a protection scam.
It is.
And that's the sensitivity readers are just the guy that goes to pick up the money, right? What else have we got? Other comments. Vlad Drakov is now a woman. Yes, that's right. Notice Calvinoni says, notice how the vegans tell us they are vegan. That's actually really nice. I really love it when a vegan tells you they're a vegan, especially, you know, a vegan that I might otherwise have wanted to hit on, because it means that, you know, I know not to go near. It's like, you know, when a poisonous snake shows you its shiny colors, you know, it's kind of helpful. Lots of stuff about French. Jessica Price. Jed Goswick says, if Venger wrote Ravenloft, that would be interesting. There you go, Venger.
I might just have to do that.
Jessica Price falls upwards more often than Kathleen Kennedy. Yeah.
Oh my God. that's something we could talk about. I mean, the whole Gina Carano firing.
Yeah, we'll probably make that topic 3 then, as if we hadn't planned it beforehand.
I'll be in bed by then.
I set that
We
one
got
up
Aaron the
as 2.
pedantic here. Sorry?
I set that one up as 2.
Oh, okay, so that'll be our topic 2. There you go. Topic
And then
3
don't
will
forget,
be-
you got to
you'll
segue
miss-
over to the shill thing.
All right, let's do the segue to the shill thing, because sorry, we are running late now. I realize. So,
Yeah, you're up.
this is the part of the show where we all tell everyone what it is that we've got for sale. Joe, you want to go first? You got something to shill?
Oh, wow. Okay. I go first for once. All right. So I'm just chilling actually. Ethereal Gary Con 13. It's happening March 28th. And so the cheapest way to get in is if you do the Ethereal badge, it's only $20. Check out the schedule. There's a bunch of good OSR games being run there. It's 4 days of gaming online. And then also, if you with your $20 badge, you get $20 of virtual merch from Frog God Games.
Nice.
So I mean, it just pays for itself right there if you like FGG stuff. And then you also get a Fantasy Grounds modules, like free access for 3 months to Fantasy Grounds. Check it out, and something called Tabletopia. I don't know what that is, but check it out for a week for free. So, all right, who's next?
Venger, how about you?
Oh wait, sorry. And I'm running 4 slots of Brutal Blades. The registration to actually get into games for Ethereal is like mid-March or something. You'll see it on the website. So the games aren't all filled up yet. In fact, no games have been scheduled, players scheduled yet. So if you were interested in playing, go doing it, but you're like, it's too late. I'm not going to get any good games. It's a wide open field. All right, go ahead, Venger.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, the Saving Chalt Kickstarter ended today, but if anybody missed out, just email me and we'll work something out. Otherwise, last week I started a new monthly podcast with Aaron the Pedantic. It's called Gonzo Up Your Ass. And
I heard about that. Is this about you and Aaron trading stories about getting pegged by your wives?
That's what it sounds like to me.
Not necessarily. maybe a little bit. I mean, every good D&D story has a little bit of wife pegging her husband, doesn't it?
Aaron, if you are in the chat right now, because I thought I saw you in the live chat, could you please comment as to the fact that that Venture has just claimed that you take it up the ass?
No, you claimed he takes it up the ass.
Well, you said a little bit. You answered a little bit. That means Aaron takes it a little bit, according to you.
Well, we all take it a little bit if you're married.
It's from the wife, so I mean, I guess that's all right. What you do with your wife in your bedroom is your own business, I suppose.
Even if you have a girlfriend or even an ex-wife, we all take it up the butt a little bit. Come on.
I have an ex-wife and I have a series of girlfriends. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, Aaron responded. He said, yes, that's exactly what it is. Okay. So, I know a lot of our viewers are into pegging. So check it out. Gonzo Up the Ass.
Aside from the many, many constant, numerous pegging stories, there's also different ways that we talk about of getting your campaign or your adventures more metal and or gonzo. So if you like Swedish Chef grim dark role-playing game, this is your answer to that for the old school. Or if you like the Chult Last Son DCC Gonzo kind of thing, this is for you as well. So Gonzo Up Your Ass. Every once a month, we just do an hour show, Aaron and I. You could see the first episode on Aaron's channel. So check that out. It was a really good fun discussion. And
in Smell-O-Vision.
There'll be plenty more. So that's it.
All right. Good stuff. And I guess it's my turn now.
Yeah, you got the World of Last Sun, Star Adventure, and Lion and Dragon. So Pick your poison or talk about something different.
Well, you can put all those up, but the thing I want to mention first and foremost right now is that we've got a new issue has come out of RPG Pundit Presents. It's RPG Pundit Presents number 104 is now out, and it is more medieval authentic secret societies, where it has about a half dozen well-detailed secret societies that are, one or two of them were actual real medieval secret societies. A couple are secret societies that are kind of based on on groups that emerged slightly later, but around the same time. Maybe it's about a few decades anachronistic to what would be the Dark Albion period, but close enough that it can fit. And a couple are just kind of speculative of what it could be, right? Like what could have been, and would fit in a medieval context. And each one gets a breakdown of what they are, their history, their membership, their rituals, what they do, what their agenda is, and it's all pretty. It's very low mechanics. It's most of it, not all, but most is setting material that you can add these groups into whatever your campaign is. Most of them will fit perfectly well in any fantasy campaign. So be sure to check that out. RPG Pundit Presents number 104, more medieval authentic secret societies. Besides that, I want to thank, there's a lot of people. I did a live stream recently, and somebody who took offense to my live stream decided to do a 1-star review of World of the Last Sun. And when I commented on that on Twitter, a bunch of people came in there who had also bought the game and really loved it, the product rather, and really loved it. Did a bunch of 5-star reviews, and it went, it went right back up again. So I want to really thank people who did that. But besides, I think I want to mention, and I think probably Venture and Job would agree with me here, that if you do pick up products on Drive-Thru RPG, if you give it a rating, or if you want to write a review, even better, right? But even if you just give it a rating, that can often be of a lot of help. It's always really appreciated by whatever producer you have of the, by whatever designer of the game it is, not just my stuff, but other people's stuff. So do think about that. If you've picked up stuff from Drive-Thru, picked up my stuff, please give it a rating, give it a review if you want. It's always a nice touch. So World of the Last Sun is doing quite well, and likewise, you have Star Adventure has been selling really well, and I've just done a video on my YouTube, a little, it's the one before last, where I did a flip through of Arrows of Indra, which I hadn't done before. It was like my earliest pure OSR game, and that led to a bunch of people picking it up. So that's nice too. Be sure to check out that video and check out my channel. And in general, for all of us here at Inappropriate Characters, if you want to support this channel and this show, please consider supporting us on Patreon. The more Patreon bucks we get, the longer Venture gets to stay up for the night. Yeah. And it's a big help to us all, even though, we're not, none of the three of us, I think, are doing this channel for the money, but it is an encouragement. And we're very grateful to everybody who supports us on Patreon. So next topic, I believe, was yours, Venture, and it's the Star Wars Gina Carano thing. How do you want to start us off on that?
I don't know how familiar everybody is already.
I think it's pretty common news, right? But
yeah,
maybe do a 1-minute explanation of it.
Sure. Yeah, the elevator pitch of what's happening is that Gina Carano is
Cara Dune on The Mandalorian, right?
Yeah, she's on The Mandalorian as like a guest star, so she's in some episodes, and she's kind of a conservative or kind of middle of the road politically, and she's outspoken, and on social media she's upset the Disney higher ups a few times, and then when she compared the propaganda that ramped up Germany before World War II into hating Jews, and so basically the nation was primed to make it okay to disenfranchise, and then of course, kill and do other terrible things to Jews. That's a potentially harmful thing that could happen here if people aren't allowed to express themselves and cancel culture is allowed to flourish and the mainstream media is allowed to demonize conservatives and Republicans and anybody to the right of Nancy Pelosi. So yeah, and she didn't cower or apologize. Gina Carano stuck to her guns and knew that she was going to get fired pretty soon. They'd already taken away a spin-off series that they originally offered her. So she wanted to go out swinging, and they did fire her, and canceled Disney Plus. Was trending the next few days, and yeah, it's just. I mean, she's getting work though. She's with Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire now. She's going to make a movie.
Did they say anything about what that is, Avenger? They're going to make some kind of. She's involved in some movie project or something. Have they said any details about that?
There were a few hints, I think. I wasn't sure. I know that the Daily Wire already made one movie about like school shooters, but this is going to be something kind of different. I was hoping it was going to be like sci-fi, but I'm not sure it is. So I don't actually have those details. But just in general, I think. Oh, and if anybody has seen or was aware of CPAC this weekend going on, which is like a conservative, like RNC thing. Their title or motto this year was America Uncanceled. And so I think cancel culture is being, everybody's focusing on that and looking at that and aware that it's a thing and it's a problem. And so hopefully, we can uncancel a bunch of people or stop the cancellation of anybody that has a different view, because the diversity of views is what they don't want. They want diversity in all other aspects, but not diversity of political leanings or philosophy or belief systems. And there are certain views that you just can't hold and still have a job or still be on social media without being harassed. So yeah, you guys can chime in, or people in the chat can ask questions or comment.
The only thing I want to mention about is that I think obviously, and what they got her for, as you pointed out, what they got her for is because she's not an SJW, right? But the specific thing that they fired her over is ridiculous, because SJWs constantly say that everybody that doesn't agree with them is a national socialist, right? So all of a sudden, for her to use that analogy becomes somehow wrong. But they've been doing it every day for the last 5 years. Right? They can say it all they like, but when she says it, it's somehow a war crime, right?
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous.
If you guys haven't seen the Gina Carano, Kathleen Kennedy, Disney Hitler meme video, you should see that. I'll put it in the chat link. But that's, where they did that Hitler movie, and he's speaking in German to all the officers in the bunker. And but then they redo the words, the subtitles. So it's talking about Kathleen Kennedy and Disney and The Mandalorian and Gina Carano. And it is a brilliant satire, and it is funny as hell, and it's scary kind of how accurate it is. So let me check it out. I'll put that in there. Keep going.
Joe, any comments?
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I was just going to say the same thing as you, Pundit, that it's a laugh that it, bringing up Jewish, the Holocaust or violence against Jews or Nazism. would even register on any of these people's radars being remotely offensive, since that every time I open Twitter that's I see more Nazis there than the History Channel. It's ridiculous.
Yes. It's also especially
claims of Nazis.
It's super hypocritical that they would accuse her of anti-Semitism when the left as a whole has become virulently anti-Semitic and are constantly engaging in anti-Semitism. It's like, who was it? The guy from the university. I'm turning into Joe Biden here, I swear. My memory, you said your memory is like a sieve. My memory is just a mess. There was a comment recently where there was a speech that was given by the it's escaping me. Anyways, there was a comment that was recently pointed out that it seems ironic. It was a Jewish speaker who said this, that it seems very, Prager, Dennis Prager, that's it, from Prager University. He was doing a speech before a Jewish Congress, and he said, it's extremely ironic that almost every Jewish person in America has a dream for their kids to end up going to the Ivy League schools, right? And one of the greatest enemies of Israel today are the Ivy League schools, right? And every Jewish person in America has this sense of being intimidated by religious Christian conservatives, and religious Christian conservatives are the greatest defenders of Israel in the United States. So it's the idea that conservatives in this day and age, apart from a tiny group of alt-right assholes that no one cares about, no one listens, and have no power, the vast majority, 99.8% of conservatives are absolutely, pro-Jewish, pro-Israel, So it's for them to make that accusation against her or anyone is ridiculously hypocritical. But I think one of the big things, going back to Star Wars, one of the big things that was a real notable reaction was how Star Wars, their YouTube channel, when Kathleen Kennedy went and did a video shortly after, she got absolutely destroyed by the dislikes and in the comments. And then they've done other videos where she wasn't even there and the same thing happened, right? There's been a massive pushback where now any Disney YouTube channel had to shut down its comments and shut down the dislike counts because they were getting just trashed by it. So I do think, Benjamin, what you pointed out about the CPAC, I think that this year, we've got a large movement against cancel culture. And I loved at the end of CPAC there, you had President Trump. He made this, one of the, he had an excellent speech, but one of the details he gave in his speech was encouraging, Republican states to pass state laws that cause massive fines to any social media company that engages in ideological based censorship. And I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. I watched some of that speech. I didn't see the end, but I saw about 20 minutes of the beginning.
The only part I heard was this horrible rendition of the national anthem. I don't know if some malicious sound engineer edited it, but if you've heard it, oh my God, it's really bad.
The intro song?
The national anthem?
What I don't get is why YMCA is now, like Donald Trump's theme song. Like I get that it's danceable, but you think you could pick something better.
I mean, maybe because it's emotional. I don't know. My wife came in and she was all teary-eyed. I'm like, what's up? And she's like, oh, I was listening to that song. Like, do I love America? Want to have sex with a warm apple pie. And I'm like, oh, why do you like that song? And she's like, I don't know. It just brings a tear to my eye every time I hear it. But of course, then I ruined it for her, as I do most things in our marriage. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe Ted Nugent was busy doing other things with his songs. I don't know.
Indigo Dragon in the comments says, "Still my president." Well, I said I called him President Trump, but that's not really a "still my president" statement. Ex-president's title is president, so
That's true. But he is technically the actual American president.
Obama too, but I love Donald Trump, obviously. I think he's, and you can tell, I kind of hope that what he'll do is actually be the spokesman and kingmaker for the patriot movement, and that might, because I think it would take a lot of his energy to just run again, and I think he could do more important things if he picks a good choice for who he endorses as candidate for president.
Yeah, I think when he was talking about 2024, I think he was kind of trying to frighten the left into thinking.
Oh yeah, no, he was totally trolling. It was great.
Yeah, he's totally trolling, making them waste their energy on like, oh my God, we have to do everything we can to stop him from winning in 2024. When I think Ted Cruz has a good chance of sneaking in the middle and winning the nomination and hopefully the presidency.
I mean, I like Ted Cruz intellectually, but he's very not likable, charismatically speaking. I think DeSantis is probably the lead guy right now, but a lot can happen between now and 4 years from now, right? So
I think Ted Cruz has some personality. He's got that podcast with Michael Knowles, and he jokes around, and when he's not, I mean, he tries to be very dry and very, matter of fact. I think he tries to be boring a lot of the times, but if he goes off script and
it's not right. Loosen up.
He can lighten up and he can like energize a room. Maybe not like Trump, but I think he has a real shot.
Aaron the Pedantic in the comments.
If Trump hadn't burst onto the scene in 2016, I think Cruz might have won it then.
Maybe. I don't know.
We'll see.
Aaron the Pedantic in the comments says, "I love Venger's version of that song. I request a studio recording." You got to go record your version of that song in the studio.
Done. Challenge accepted.
Sounds good.
There we go. You got to do it. Put it on YouTube.
Of course.
All right. Anything else to say about the Star Wars thing?
Oh, I'm so pissed off about it and I love The Mandalorian. I think it's one of the best Disney version Star Wars things that's happened since Disney bought it.
Totally.
It's even better than I'd say Rogue One or Solo. I think those are pretty good movies as well. And even I am not gonna fucking watch season 3 of The Mandalorian because that shit's dead to me unless they somehow rehire Gina Carano, and I don't think they will. And
I wasn't that into it either.
They're thinking about doing, then I think all hell's gonna break loose. It's gonna break loose anyway because people are fucking tired of this shit, and the pendulum is about to swing the other way. And leftists better watch out because the silent majority is about to stand up and come out swinging.
I don't know.
Job, final thoughts, or do you want to introduce our final topic for the night?
Well, I don't know. Just my final thought is that I think this was a pretty horrible escalation in this whole kind of political warfare that we have, and I really think it's going to get worse. I mean, but I'm trying to think of what the next thing's going to be. They're just going to like beat up some star or something outside of the Academy Awards. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting crazier and crazier.
I don't know if we're at the tipping point or not, but it could get worse and then swing, or it could start swinging now. But revolutions go both ways fairly rapidly. So who knows?
All right, so our third topic is probably the most anticipated one, the most recent Twitter storm. The perfect RPG. All right. I guess I'll talk about then, right? So
you're in some topic, so start the introduction. I mean, if you want to, I can introduce it because I know this topic as well, but go on.
Yeah, so basically, if people didn't hear about this one, it's kind of blown up in the last few days. But there's this zine quest thing they do every year on Kickstarter. I don't really understand it, but everyone's supposed to make zines or something. I don't know. Have you guys ever done that zine quest thing?
No, not at all.
I'm aware of it, but
I've never done any Kickstarter, so.
Yeah, so I don't know. It seemed like
yeah. They try to promote zines during a certain month.
Yeah. So I think it was part of that, basically. Yeah. So I guess Luke Crane put together the perfect RPG was the name of the project. So it was going to be a zine with a bunch of, I think like short RPGs by a bunch of different designers, and they listed all these people, you know, Sage Latora and I don't know, Vincent Baker, a lot of, you know, story gamer type people, and a few other people. But so apparently, I guess Luke, you know, is friends with Adam Coble. I mean, I always see them at Gen Con at the Burning Wheel booth or whatever for years and years. So I think they're pretty tight. But he wanted to get Adam back on, and if you guys don't remember who Adam Coble is, he is the guy who did the Far Verona, you know, DMing on Twitch. That I guess it was popular. I don't know. I tried to watch it. It was pretty boring, but he made a robosexual assault on a player. The whole thing was silly. I mean, it was just like a dumb joke or something, and then everyone just kind of blew it out of proportion, and Adam Coble got canceled. And that's been over, I don't know, at least a year by now, right? We talked about it on this show, like with this lineup, so.
Yeah, and the player character was a robot.
Yeah, I did a video about this on my channel. So if you guys want the whole story about the Robo scandal, check out my video called SJW Dungeon World Designer Caught in Toxic Masculinity Scandal. It's hilarious.
So anyway, as soon as Adam Coble, it came out, Adam Coble's name was on some later promo or email or something. I'm not sure exactly where that part came in. Everyone, of course, you know, started flipping out on Twitter, you know, as they're wont to do. And, you know, all the other designers started dropping out. I mean, Sage Latora, I think, was the first one. It was like, I'm removing my name from this. And, you know, those two worked on Dungeon World together. So, you know, he's the first one to throw him under the bus, I guess. So everyone, you know, started dropping like flies off the project. And then I guess it was the 27th. Yeah. So yesterday, the Kickstarter was canceled, and it went to the canceled status. So
sad.
Not putting
Benjer,
it out anymore.
I know you're going to have to leave pretty soon, so I'll let you do first comments on this if you have anything to say about it.
I was thinking about that a couple of weeks ago, and so I tweeted out that every single Alpha Blue adventure should end with non-consensual robot orgasms. As a reference to that, I got like 11 likes, maybe a dozen. It's just, that part is just stupid. And then the people that, I mean, Luke Crane, I mean, sneaking him like around the back or something. Like, if you're gonna do something, just do it in front of people's faces. I don't know, like, why be shifty about it? You know it's gonna blow up in your face probably anyway, and it did. Why that guy's canceled? And I mean, that guy even made an apology, which is probably what made it worse. Public service announcement number 2 tonight. If you do something to piss off the social justice warriors, do not apologize. Double down and go about your business. Fuck those guys. Apologizing just makes it worse. And so, yeah, this is over a year ago, and so he's still in cancellation jail or RPG jail. Because,
well, there's no way out of it, so he's there forever.
Yeah, I guess
he's contributed everything that he will ever contribute, and thank you for your service. Goodbye.
Yeah, because he was a social justice warrior himself, and he had been a regular guy like us, and did that nobody would have batted an eye. Maybe for a day or two, people would be like joking about it or making fun of him, but then it would have been forgotten and nobody would have cared. But because he pals around with those people and is one himself, it totally bit him on the ass, and they eat their own. And yeah, who was on the chopping block?
Well, I mean, that's the problem with the
actors,
the woke stuff. That as soon as you open the door to it and start, saying that start reflecting their values back to them, then you're trapped. You can't not do what the mob wants anymore.
He did it in such a, if you watch the video of the robo rape scene, he did it in such a sneaky way and such a, he did it so smarmily. I don't think any of us would do that if we were doing it in a game, right? Like, I mean, I can see any of us having a kind of a gonzo game where there could be some kind of horny robot, right? But it would have been done in a way that wasn't like a hijack, of a character that came out of absolutely nowhere, And
it was telegraphed from like 2 miles away, or should I say 2 parsecs away. Like, you could see it coming. It's like this train wreck, and that's about to happen, and everybody is aware that this is coming, and nobody says it. And obviously, in the moment, he couldn't read the room correctly because he was focused on his bit, maybe. But everybody that was there is basically an active and willing participant, because you had to know this was coming. He just was like, you could see it in his eyes, in his face, in his tone of his voice, where he was going with this. Maybe not exactly that.
Look at the picture that Joe put up.
And they all just like stood there like.
Look at the image on the screen right now. You can see the guy to the right. That's Adam Koebel, right? And if you've ever seen that little cartoon,
the guy with pink hair,
predators mask themselves, and like how they have certain colors to show that they're dangerous, and then they show the picture of the male feminist as a super predator. That's Adam Koebel's picture. It's the same dude, right? Like, I mean, he was the model for that drawing practically, and like, right. So the guy, you could tell he was a creep from a mile away. So everybody in that
he's
game,
like a sprightly little elf dude too. He's really
they are
small.
Complicit. 111%. They are complicit in that, and they have no right whatsoever to come back the next day and be like, "Wait a minute, I'm offended by that. What happened? I was totally, I feel unsafe." That's just the whole thing is just such bullshit. So I'm not sad that it all blew up in his face, and their dumb project is on the ropes. Good, because fuck them, and more for us.
Dracopole in the comments.
I will now bid you adieu.
Right. Okay, take care, Ranger. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a good one.
If you guys want Ranger to get to stay up later, support us on Patreon.
That's right. And whether or not you support or will support this or any other Kickstarter, I still got, Chult, Fuchsia Malaise, and the original Chult hardcovers that will forever be for sale, because I have a ton of them in my basement that I need to sell. So hit me up if you want one. That's it.
Alrighty.
Adios.
And if you donate to our Subscribe Star today, I'll make sure that some of that money goes to Venger's wife so she can buy larger gauge pegs for Venger. So that's a limited time offer.
Very good. Look, somebody commented in the comments that they thought Adam Koebel is gay. I don't believe he identifies as that. He identifies as being part of the LGBT spectrum, but in a way that he's been always kind of vague about it. So he's he identifies as queer, I guess you could say. But he said in one comment in a Reddit section, I think that was him that said it. He says, yeah, I used to use bisexual, but I sometimes feel that unquestioned that label can reinforce a gender binary I don't like. I consider myself a relationship anarchist. All right, so that is his in other words, his identity is meant to give him a lot of cover, let's say.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
oh man, and also on this whole topic, Pundit, I was doom scrolling on Twitter, and his ex-girlfriend, I forgot her name. It doesn't matter. She's got blue hair, and she posted today like some link out to her like explanation of why she and Adam broke up, and part of it is probably pretty bad. She said you got a lot of hate mail and a lot of just freaky people bugging her on social media and stuff after that whole Adam thing went down. But then she writes this whole thing about how he was going to fly down. She lives here in Seattle, but he's going to fly down from Canada to visit her, and but he wanted to go camping with his friends when he landed and then see her after. And then she broke up. She was like, if you want to go camping, then I'm breaking up with you. You don't really care about me, and I'm in therapy and all this other stuff. So he's like, oh, well, I want to come see you in person and like dump me to my face or whatever. And then she puts this on this whole message. And then she's like, I went to CA. I don't know if that's California or Canada or whatever, but she's like, I left because I was too afraid he would show up at my door. So she was, scared he was going to do something to her or trying to intimate that. I'm really not sure, but oh God.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Now, well, according to Tom K here in the comments, he says that Adam. We can't confirm or deny this, but this is Tom K's account. He says Adam told Coble told him that he was gay after Tom threatened to break Coble's wrist if he ever role played with his daughter. So okay, but he lies a lot apparently. Anyways, there is a part to this story that you didn't mention, which I think is actually the most interesting
what did I forget?
Part of it, which is that Luke Crane isn't just any dude on Kickstarter.
Oh, Jesus.
Luke Crane works for Kickstarter. Okay, he's actually like the manager for
no,
the
he
RPG.
used to be like the Games Czar or something, I think is what it was called. It was like related to gaming, but now he's the VP of community. So he's double screwed.
But essentially, it means that this is a guy who has power in Kickstarter. He has the power to decide which Kickstarters get canceled. He has the power to decide which Kickstarters get extra promotion. And of course, he's been using that power to push for, his fellow SJW's Kickstarters and I would imagine, to attack Kickstarters he doesn't like. And he obviously, the Perfect RPG was a collection of zines that he had, he got to handpick himself, right, as what he considered like, the best stuff. But the best stuff was very clearly just, the stuff that he personally supports for ideological reasons, So this is a dude who has, he's working for, unless anyone's heard otherwise, he's still working for Kickstarter right now. He was basically getting to influence the business and promote things the way he wanted to there. And he didn't tell the other backers that he was putting Adam Coble in there. So this was obviously an attempt by him, because I guess, as you said, they're friends, to kind of bring Adam back into acceptability by tying him to all these other people that he's handpicked for this Kickstarter project, right? So if I guess his theory was that if he snuck Adam in there, then it would appear like all the other guys had endorsed him, even though none of them knew that he was going to do that, right? It's unbelievably smarmy at every level, unbelievably smarmy at every level of everything I've just said. And I wonder now what the reaction to him is going to be and whether he's going to get himself canceled. Anyways, like if I could communicate in memes right now, I would just be right now. You would see on the screen a picture of the guy smiling while he eats popcorn. You know, like this is, to me, this is just hilarious because I'm watching a group of awful people getting mad at other awful people over the awful things that they all do. You know, it's you know, this is just a bonus Christmas or something like that, you know? It's so funny.
It's pretty funny. Well, the other thing we didn't mention too is that, you know, Luke Crane is famous for writing the worst RPG that's ever been released. Burning Wheel.
Well, yeah,
have you ever tried Burning Wheel?
RPG. There's a lot of candidates for that title, but I would definitely put it up there among really bad RPGs. And he's got terrible ideas about RPG design in general, you know, like most story gamers do. Yeah, he's a piece of work. He's also like a huge dick. And like everybody knows he's a huge dick, so this is all
that's not a secret.
Of people getting exactly what they deserve. You know, it's wonderful, actually. You know, I don't know what else I can really say about that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's very fun.
I don't think that the guy should be canceled. The guy should be able to write whatever he wants, but I mean, whatever. This is what people do now.
Yeah, but someone like that shouldn't get to control or have any influence over what gets put up on Kickstarter, you know? That's where the problem lies.
Yeah, but he's not, he's just one of many. He's not like this one guy that's like in the way, like it's the entire company. I mean, all the Comicsgate guys, they don't even bother putting their comics up on Kickstarter. They all moved over to, oh Jesus, what's the other one called? Indiegogo?
Indiegogo. Yeah, Indiegogo, yeah.
No, is that what it's called? Yeah, Indiegogo. They all moved other stuff over there because those people just want money. Like they're just a business, not like some kind of woke stormtroopers that are gonna like, you know, cause you business issues.
Well, you know, Benjer does the Kickstarter thing, and he seems to do well with that now.
I was wondering about that. He's never had a problem. He's done a bunch of them, so I don't know.
I've never ever done a Kickstarter myself, and you know, I've never needed to. I do really well by actually making the product first and then selling it, so I'm quite happy about that.
Well, the fact that Venger's writing, maybe Luke isn't as bad as whoever's running the comics part of Kickstarter, but I don't know. I don't know what the hell that guy does anymore. Yeah.
Well, some comments from the peanut gallery here. Dracopol says Adam Colville will now live as a gay man.
Probably. Oh man, yeah. There's got to be this whole like. We should make a flow chart of like all the genders that you can like fall back to, you know, and fall eventually, you know, it's like, oh, I don't know, he could just like break his legs, get a wheelchair and say he's gay. And
in case of scandal, break glass. You know, that's Dracopol says Adam Colville's girlfriend broke up with him because they have the wrong voltage for robo-rape in Canada.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
Let's see what else. Indigo Dragon says, do robots feel robo-rape? Well, it was actually the robot who was guilty of sexual assault in that game, but anyway.
Oh no, but Indigo likes Burning Wheel apparently too, so I don't know about his comments, how trustworthy they are.
Yeah, no, not very. Let's see here. Yeah, I disagree about Burning Wheel. Well, okay, Indigo, whatever. Somebody said the worst RPG ever was Swords Fall, which some people are saying, did that ever even come out? I think it's vaporware. I don't know. I don't even pay attention to that. Yeah, anyway, that's, I don't know if there's much else to say about that story. It's really funny because it's a bunch of marginal people who produce products that very few people buy anyways, but that, you know, they did manage to fund the Kickstarter, and then they had to cancel it because everybody dropped out because of Adam Colville. So it was quite amusing. Also, I noticed that the estimated delivery date was November 2024. Like, Jesus, Like this is why I don't do Kickstarters, right? Like nor have I ever paid into a Kickstarter.
Well, it would be white supremacy for them to give all the writers any deadline. So
yeah. It's just, but that's a ridiculous schedule. You know, I would never put up with that shit from a publisher of any of my games. You know.
yeah.
Chad Goswick says, if Swords Falls out, let's get Pundit a review copy. Why do you want to torture me, Chad? Why? Because, you know, if someone sends it to me, I'd have to review it. But that's I wouldn't be happy about that exactly. I'd rather review games that I think I can say something nice about. Yeah, I guess that's that topic. I don't know if there's anything else for us to talk about tonight. Do the people in the chat have anything else that they want to bring up before we close? I think we got maybe another 15 minutes here that we could do. If not, I guess we can end early. Some people asked about my Invisible College game. The production is proceeding apace. As far as I know, it is still on schedule. It will not be coming out in November 2024. It'll be coming out sometime, I hope, in the first half of 2021. And if not, it'll be not much longer after that, I hope. Now, you never know. I have sometimes had games that took longer than I would have wanted. Never have I had a game that took 3 years to come out like these guys. But it is looking very good right now. And I've been doing a series of kind of playtest games that have had some very positive reactions from the players. So I think the game will do quite well. Shadzar says we should send Pundit one of these. Stop suggesting to send shitty games to me, please. I don't want to have to do reviews for those games. We all know they're crap, right? So like, why? What's the point? I'd rather, tell you about games that may or may not be crap. Either inform you about games you didn't know were crap, or inform you about games you didn't know were good. That's the best, I think. But yeah, don't misuse my reviewer skills here, guys.
I thought you'd review anything if they paid the shipping to get it down to you.
Yeah, it's true. Sullivan Kane said, just saw Old School Essentials Rules Tome. It's really good. Any opinions on that? I do not have that book. I don't know if you're familiar with it, Job.
It looks interesting to me. I haven't picked it up yet. I haven't been reading that much recently because I'm just trying to get done with my own crap, which has taken too long. It's taken 3 years.
Solomon, if you've got it, maybe you can answer a question for me and for the audience. Is Old School Essentials, is it basically a clone game? Like, is it pretty much very traditional D&D, or does it have something kind of wild and innovative about it? Because I think, whatever, clone games are okay, but nowadays with OSR stuff, I get way more interested in stuff that does interesting modifications of old school games, the way that I do with Lion and Dragon and stuff like that. Indigo Dragon says, Invisible College sounds cool. I liked Lion and Dragon and Dark Albion. Thank you very much. Judd Goswick says, nothing beats Far West for lateness in Kickstarter RPGs. Damn right. I love pointing this out because Gareth Michael Skarka is a piece of shit, and he's actually attacked me. Oh, he's never produced anything, RPG Pundit, and I like to point out that in the years that Skarka has taken to not make Far West, I've literally put out 110 RPG products. So very funny. Somebody brought up one game that I would not review if sent to me, so don't bother sending it. What else have we got here? Dracopol says, remember, drink Coca-Cola, it makes you less white. I should point out, Dracopol, I've seen apparently Coca-Cola has dialed back on that. Now, I don't know if they've done it reluctantly or not, but they're apparently no longer doing that seminar for their employees where they tell them to be less white. For those of you who don't know, Coca-Cola was caught on camera doing employee seminars on critical race theory, where the employees were being told that they had to be less white, and were given a list of instructions of how to eliminate whiteness in themselves. Yeah. Jeffrey Garrison says, RPG Pundit is already worn out ripping on Bart McKern. Yeah. I don't think I don't think there needs to be much more said about that guy. He's an example of that fringe no one cares about. Sorry if you're part of that fringe, but no one gives a crap about you, and you have no influence or power on the right. Unlike the anti-Semites and racists on the left that are constantly becoming more influential there. Sadsar says, since Jessica Price did work on Van Richten's Ravenloft, you must review it as a moral imperative. Well, if someone sends me a copy of the new Ravenloft book when it comes out, I would review that one. Yeah, I'll see what I have to say about it. I'm quite curious about this one guy. I mentioned him. Ajit George is his name. The only him on that entire list, who is he's Indian, of Indian descent anyway. I don't know whether he grew up in India or not, but he's apparently been hired to do a domain of dread that is based on Indian mythology, which, good for him. But I think that it's sad that the notion that he has Indian blood somehow is the thing that they consider that qualifies him to do that. Maybe he's an expert. I'm not saying he isn't. He might be an expert on Indian mythology, in which case that's perfectly fine that he's doing an Indian-based setting. But that should be the real qualification, not his ethnicity, right? Anyhow. If you guys want a really good RPG about Indian mythology that was written by someone who doesn't have actual Indian blood, but that does know a lot about the subject, check out Arrows of Indra.
Well, how is that possible? How can you write about something without actually having the genetic code of that thing?
Well, a long time ago, I did this blog entry about what did I call him? Kurt von Kraut-Angelou, right? Which was, let us imagine that Maya Angelou had a grandnephew that was a quarter black and was raised in Germany. He only spoke German, and he was, he had never actually been anywhere that was that had any element of Black American culture in it. The argument of SJWs is that somehow Kurt von Kraut-Angelou would be a better representative of Black culture because of his, drops of Black blood in his veins than some white guy who had multiple degrees in, Black studies, or who had or sociology of African Americans, or anything like that, or somebody who lived in Harlem their entire life but wasn't Black. So it's a nonsensical claim, right? But this is what they believe, because they are fundamentally genetic racists. They believe that the color of one's skin or the content of one's blood is somehow a central factor to everything in existence.
Yeah, I was just reading the other day. I wish I could remember the college, but this professor was doing like a, I don't know, Native American comparative religion or something course, and it turned out he was white. And the students demanded that a person of Indian descent or Native American, whatever, who knows what to say anymore, but teach the class. And this guy had studied under some really famous, I don't remember what nation his mentor was, that he worked with for years. But the guy had a PhD and spent a lot of time studying all this stuff, and then just have everything just thrown back at you and be like, well, you're not a Native American, so what do you know? and actually it's offensive that you would know anything or try or pretend to teach it to anybody else. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same. It's the idea that if you pick some guy off the street in, Idaho or New York or, Texas or California, that they would somehow be better at understanding and writing a setting about Dark Ages Europe than, say, a Somali woman who had a history PhD in Dark Ages Europe. Like it's nonsense, right? It's abject nonsense. The fact that someone belongs to a certain ethnicity, now, like maybe if you were Indian, born in India, you grew up in Delhi or Mumbai or Bangalore, and you were writing a product about modern day India, like, I don't know, the city guide to Delhi, and you'd spend your entire life in Delhi, for a modern D20 game or something. Well, yeah, you'd probably be more qualified than someone who never visited there, right? That would make sense. But it doesn't make you more qualified to write about like a 2,000-year-old mythical context, like that doesn't follow. Jacopol says Kurt von Kraut-Angelou bored people with his poetry in German and caused many accidents with farm machinery from people falling asleep listening to their radios. Well, that happens all the time in Germany, though. You can't just blame Kurt.
I like what Cameron James said. He said, this book will be about Jessica Price decriminalizing spreading vampirism amongst the population as they're all homophobic.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you get a lot of that actually about how there's a queer element to the vampire myth, right? And actually, like, the vampire myth is all about lust. It's not necessarily about queerness, though there are some elements in the vampire myth that you could interpret as having some of that. But it's about the sin of lust, right? It's at least the 19th century vampire myth is about that, not the older medieval ones, which are basically about dying outside of a state of grace, right? But anyways, the idea that you get some people who are like LGBT activists talking about how the vampire myth is a queer myth, as if that was a good thing, is what kind of, it's a bit confusing because they seem to think vampires are the good guys, and they're not. And right. Especially not in Gothic horror. In Ravenloft, Strahd is not the good guy. He's the guy you're supposed to go kill, right? So I can't imagine what they're going to do with that, what SJWs are going to do with that in the, in this upcoming Domains of Dread sort of book, in the Rip Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, because they're so anti-human. SJWs, by definition, kind of despise humanity in general. They have layers of who they despise more or less. But when you scratch the surface deep down, all of them kind of think humanity itself is awful, right? And they think that, like a lot of them, you probably say, well, would the world be better off without humans? They go, oh yeah, because the environment and there would be war and all this. They're actually humanophobic, and so. How many, there should be a betting pool as to how many of these 30 domains are actually going to say, well, humans are the real monsters and the horrible creatures in these domains are actually misunderstood, and wonderful. It's going to be very interesting to see how much they're allowed to get away with on that. Tom K says, what if the Indian guy was really into Bram Stoker? Yeah, exactly. If you had an Indian, by the logic that these guys are using, if you had some Indian guy who really liked the Dracula story and was an expert on it, and was very into 19th century vampires, they'd go to him, no, sorry, you've got to write the section on, the Indian Ravenloft realm, and that's sad, right? That's just ridiculous and sad. You've heard about this in comics too, where you've got guys, I forget his name now. There's an African-American comic artist, you guys will probably tell me in the comments, who did all kinds of characters for Marvel. and was, he had some very incredible runs. I think he did a big run of Daredevil, if I remember correctly, and it was like supposed to be really a fantastic run of it. And he says nowadays all they want him to do is, Black Panther because he's black, and he was complaining about this, very rightfully so, right? It's just absurd. Shadzar says, might as well rename it Van Richten's Guide to Furries. Yeah, I'm very concerned that that's what's going to be the case, It's very funny. But I guess we'll see. We don't know yet. The book hasn't come out yet. The problem is, given the people associated with it, especially Jessica Price, if I had to put hard money, if I had to put a couple of thousand on a bet here, I would be betting that it's going to be awful. I would be pretty confident of the odds. But we'll see better when the time comes. Sorry?
I said I'll second that.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, should we be wrapping this up, Job, you think?
Yeah, sounds pretty good. Okay. Well, thanks everyone for coming. And if you have some free time at the end of March, think about GaryCon, GaryCon.com. $20 for 4 days of virtual gaming.
Yeah, good stuff. And anyways, be sure to support us here on Patreon and check out all of my stuff. One of the great lessons that I keep trying to put in people's heads is don't buy products from people who despise you, right? Do not, if you realize that these are people, Jessica Price, look up her tweets, see what she thinks about you, and then ask yourself if you want to buy a product that she's getting money for, right? It's everybody's choice, but my advice to everyone is don't buy stuff from people that want to destroy you, buy stuff from people that just want to make good products. And I feel pretty confident in saying that if you want to support me, check out my books, the RPG Pundit Presents series. It's nice and inexpensive. But you're getting something for yourself, and it's like you're buying me a coffee, and if you check out my bigger books, that's great too. Check out the Old School Companion, The World of the Last Sun, which has gotten spectacular reviews as a, gonzo source book that you can play as its own world, or you can cannibalize sections. It's very modular, so you can take parts and put them into your weird fantasy campaign. Check out Star Adventure, which has had spectacular reviews as well. All of these have now become bestsellers, Silver and Electrum bestsellers for those, gold bestseller for Lion and Dragon and Dark Albion. So be sure to check them all out. Medieval Authentic Role Playing. You get this stuff, you get great products that you're going to be able to use in your campaigns, even, whether you want to play it as is or whether you want to incorporate it into the other stuff you do. That's the wonderful thing about the OSR. There's, pretty much great compatibility on all of it. And you're supporting me and the things that I'm doing. So if you like me and if you like the things I'm doing, you want that to continue, and you don't want the SJW stuff to continue, give your money to the person you want to continue, and don't give your money to the people you don't want to continue. It's pretty straightforward. I guess that's
Judd Goswick keeps asking about Brutal Blades. If you Judd, if you want to check it out, definitely I'm gonna be running it at GaryCon. I'm only running that at GaryCon this year, so come check it out.
There we go. And our next episode should be in 4 weeks, so it should be on the 28th of March. Be sure to mark the date so you can be here again in at the end of March, 28th of March, Sunday, 7:30 Central, and we'll see you all there. And meanwhile, we'll see you on our respective YouTube channels. Thank you very much, guys. Currently smoking. Was this 7 Deluxe plus Argento Natural.